My adventures in real estate entrepreneurship. While I was busy trying to be a starving artist, I bumped into financial security. I am not a real estate agent, but in the last decade, I have bought and sold 6 homes, most of which nobody else wanted, recalling one realtor who said, "That's okay, Jill, you go in, I'll wait in the car." Yes, the porch had a hole in it. Yes, the door fell off the top hinges when I opened it. And yes, the tenants had 2 barking pit bulls just inside the foyer. But all that aside, I bought my first piece of real estate in Liberty, New York, May 6, 2001. I think it all began when I was 14 and my parents went out of town for 2 days, leaving me in our big old house. It's true, I had requested my bedroom be painted pink, but that was many years ago, and so on this day, I was determined to make the transition from pink to blue, for whatever reason my 14-year-old mind had at the time. I headed out the door on foot, walking along the highway to the hardware store to buy 2 gallons of blue paint. If I was going to accomplish anything that day, it was to cover up the little girl pink I'd suffered with too long, or so I convinced myself. There I was, balancing my right and left sides, shifting cans ever so often, stopping on the interstate medium crossings until I had finally reached my destination back home. The upstairs pink room was soon to be no more. Thus, my love of home renovation was honed at an early age. Even before that, my mother used to keep me up until 1 in the morning leafing through House Beautiful and fabric swatch books. I don't know if she recognized some ingrained talent or whether she was actually grooming me for my future real estate destiny. Which came first, the chicken or the Fabergé egg? I'll never know. After receiving a master's degree in computer graphics and working as an internet artist in New York City, one day I accidentally clicked on a link in upstate New York's online classified newspaper page. Mind you, this was before the internet became the main vehicle in which we communicate with the rest of the world, so I was surprised to watch words link and transform the newspaper page into listings for all those Victorians, white picket fence, gingerbread and funky industrial loft warehouses, which scrolled down my screen like a diner menu. And the prices weren't far from it, too. Fabulous. $18,000 to $35,000. And all the places looked like paradise compared to the 1.5 bedroom I shared with a huge dog, Maggie, and his A&E editor, Herb. Herb used to call the room I rented from him in Merry Hill the baby room on account of its minimal size. In January, I'd walk the dog just to get out of the apartment for a few minutes. It was time to leave Manhattan when my favorite Mexican restaurant knew what kind of burrito and spicy sauce I wanted, even before I gave him my name and address on the phone. Basically, the quality of life was not there for me in the city, and given my financial status, it was probably never going to be. I'll start with Liberty. When in doubt, strip. So here I was, fresh from Manhattan, plunked down on a country road in Liberty, New York, staring at my kitchen floor, which looked more like an endorsement for linoleum, all kinds of linoleum. I'm thinking trailer coach, diner booth, boat steering wheel, Oldsmobile, Elvis Presley, 1955. And that overall plastics interior smell. I even resorted to emailing the author of an exclusive home decor book, The Parisian Apartment, hoping she would glean some advice as to how there was a way for me to keep my 4 layers of 35-year-old linoleum intact and still evoke a graceful European boudoir style to my new gigs. She emailed me back a little too quickly that, well, most people just rip it out. Not what I wanted to hear. So all that summer, I sat on a 5-gallon bucket from the hardware store and proceeded to peel up multiple layers on the tacky floor and thought, where's the camera? No one's going to believe me. brick orange, black and tan, marbled green under that. And if that wasn't nasty enough, a giant sheet of tough stuff glued with an asbestos tar-like roofing paper. Now this is before the whole HGTV craze, but I know I could have really turned this into another career if only I'd had the foresight. You know, the whole before and after. Now it's after, of course. I even got an infection from the microscopic particles that rubbed into my knee and blew it up like a plum. At least that's what the lab work determined when they called me a week later with the results and were surprised that I was still alive. I kid you not, the lab technician was genuinely shocked to hear my voice, and in so much expressed it with a, "Wow, so this is really Jill?" What else was I supposed to think? Of course, that event proceeded with an article in the paper about a woman dying from some deer or rodent droppings she'd found while cleaning her, you guessed it, upstate cabin. But no, that could never happen to immortal me, right? I conveniently recall the newscast as the 2 bags of intravenous fluid dripped into my veins on the emergency room hospital cot. Lesson learned. Wear knee pads and heavy work gloves. This is construction. Better late than never. I would like to add that the nurse in the emergency room hospital thought I was faking it until my head spun around like Linda Blair and I said to her, "If you don't get a doctor in here within the next 30 seconds, I'm going to get out of this cot."